One date. That's all it took. One pleasant, unremarkable date with a man she met online. Yet for Jacqueline Ades, that single hour turned into a 10-month-long campaign of terror involving property damage, death threats, and a truly unbelievable number of text messages. Over 159,000 texts. Yeah, you heard me right. This case shocked the true crime community, not just for the sheer volume of stalking, but for its bizarre, almost theatrical nature. From texts fantasizing about making sushi out of your kidneys to being found bathing in the victim's house, it all begs the same question. What was happening in her mind? As a licensed professional counselor, I know that behavior this extreme is always a symptom of something profound. We're going beyond the sensational details today to analyze the psychological breakdown of the core of the Jacqueline Ades case. It is bizarre in nature, but she's still a human. I want to be clear, this is not about making fun of Jacqueline at all. It's not about making fun of anyone with a mental health. It's not making light of a mental illness. This is about education and learning and trying to figure out why someone did what they did. And maybe you have somebody in your life that does something similar, and this might help. The victim, a successful Paradise Valley businessman, met Jacqueline in 2017. One date was followed by a polite rejection. What followed was a swift descent into fixation. The initial texts were persistent, then they became unsettling, and eventually overtly violent. The number of texts ballooned from 65,000, as if that wasn't enough, to over 159,000 during a relentless 10-month period. Think about the volume of messages. I did a video on Jacqueline a while back, and so many people said, I would block if I had that many messages. Well, that's probably true. And yet, that's what he did, and she found a way to get to him anyway. That's nearly 530 texts per day. This wasn't just a simple obsession. This became her full-time consuming reality. When digital threats weren't enough, she moved to physical trespass. She was found parked outside his home, at his business, and despite a legal injunction, the harassment only intensified. Now, it begs the question here, how did she know his address? That is interesting. One date. She must have done a lot of research. That's what a delusional disorder can do. You're obsessed and can't stop thinking about it until you get the answer. The climax was in April 2018. While the victim was away, surveillance footage showed Jacqueline inside his home. Police found her in the master bathroom, taking a bath. She claimed that she had been invited and was simply waiting for him to return. The police also found a large butcher knife and items from the victim's home in her car. This profound lack of connection to reality was a turning point. After her arrest, Jacqueline was repeatedly found incompetent to stand trial. In the eyes of the law, she could not understand the proceedings or assist in her own defense due to her mental state. She was committed to the Arizona State Hospital for treatment aimed at restoring her competency. The legal system dictates that she remains in treatment until her competency is restored. Now let's look at the three most striking psychological indicators evident in her behavior. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I want to make sure that this is not a diagnosis. It's only my speculation. So this is my professional analysis of the patterns that I see in Jacqueline. The first one is fixed delusions. This is the bedrock of the entire case. Her belief that the victim loved her, was secretly communicating with her, and had invited her into his home persisted, despite all the evidence contrary. These are fixed false beliefs that are unshakable. This fixation drove Jacqueline to figure out his address, drive all the way there, figure out how to break into his home, and act like he was her partner, even though he did not want to continue the relationship. She believed he did, and that's the key here. Number two is a lack of insight and judgment. Her inability to understand the severity of her actions, the legal consequences, or the sheer terror she inflicted indicates a severe break from reality. Her statement that she was worried that the victim would call the police after sending thousands and thousands of death threats and breaking into his home highlights this profound lack of judgment. Number 3 is grandiose and referential thinking. Jacqueline often displayed a sense of grandiosity, that she was special, the subject of a secret romance, and even made references to being ISIS. Referential thinking is about a belief that random events or neutral communication, like the victim's silence, are specifically directed at you and carry a secret personal meaning. Based on the entirety of her documented behavior, the overwhelming evidence points to one key diagnostic category: delusional disorder, specifically the erotomanic type. This disorder is classified by the presence of non-bizarre delusions, meaning they are about situations that could happen in real life, such as being followed or being poisoned, or being secretly loved by another person. The problem here, she was not loved by another person. That was her delusion. Her stalking behavior is a result of the fixed delusion, not the other way around. Here's why erotomania is the perfect fit for her. First, its content is love. The central theme of her delusion was that the victim was secretly in love with her, despite his outward behavior. He didn't want to continue the relationship, but she believed he did, but it was a mixed meaning. She understood what that meaning was, or maybe she didn't. Next is the target is a high status. The victim was a successful businessman. It fits the profile of a higher status or unattainable target often seen in erotomania. This fixed erotomania is something that is a delusional thinking that is mixed with something that is a fantasy of hers. And she believed that fantasy is an ultimate cognitive distortion that she started to believe. It wasn't true. It was no evidence for it, but she made it up in her own mind. And she believed the false delusion, and it was her reality. Next is the persistence of her. The delusion persisted for over a year and intensifying with every legal block and rejection. For someone with this disorder, the victim's attempts to stop the stalking are interpreted as further evidence of his secret love, that he's testing her, or the external forces are preventing him from being with her. Many people in my other video about Jacqueline, they thought, well, if somebody was going to text me that many times, I would block them. But we have no reason to believe that this person didn't block her. She just found other ways to figure out where he was. She figured out his address and went there. The delusion is self-sealing. This condition is fundamentally different from obsessive compulsive disorder or borderline personality disorder, which might also involve obsessive relationships. But in those cases, the person knows the relationship isn't real, but struggles to control the intrusive thoughts or intense emotions. In delusional disorder, Jacqueline truly believed the relationship was real. She wasn't an ordinary stalker. She was operating from a completely fabricated reality. That's the core tragedy here. She was entirely profoundly lost within her own mind. The case of Jacqueline Ades serves as a powerful, unsettling intersection of crime and mental illness. It reminds us that protection of victims is paramount, but it also highlights the critical need for a judicial and mental health system equipped to treat severe psychosis. Her commitment to the Arizona State Hospital is an acknowledgement of her profound mental illness, and for her victim, a path toward lasting peace. What did you think about this case? And do you have an interesting true crime case with a lot of psychological layers that you want me to cover next? Let me know. Thank you for joining me today, and until next time, stay curious, stay safe.